Okay, let's try to understand the definition of cloud computing as given by NIST. NIST is National Institutes of Standards and Technology. It's about 180-year-old, sitting in the United States, not governed by the United States, but NIST provides standards for various things like cloud computing, information security, risk management, biometrics, etc. But at this point, let's stick to cloud computing. What NIST says is that cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. What are computing resources? Well, anything that you see in your office, in your data center. It could be a firewall, switch, virtual machine, storage in the form of SAN, NAS, or DAS, various kinds of applications. All of these are resources that enable the business. Now, these resources, you should be able to provision them and release them with minimal management effort or service providers interaction. So if you have an idea in the middle of a night and you want to provision such kind of infrastructure, it really becomes impossible to implement your idea. Primarily because you have to run around and get the infrastructure from Walmart or Costco or Target to get those resources, like a server maybe, right? Well, cloud computing says that, well, you can create a server whenever you want it. It could be in the middle of a night or somewhere in the middle of a business day. You can create the resource from anywhere. It could be from the airport, could be from a subway, from your office, or from your home. As long as you have internet connection and a device that supports a browser, you should be able to create the resources in the cloud provider's location. Now, look at the last point. It says that minimal management effort or service providers interaction. That means that I do not have to call the cloud computing provider to create my resource. I don't want to call the customer care and say that, hey, can you create a virtual machine for me with about 64 GB of RAM, 1 terabyte of hard disk, make sure that it's SSD, ensure that you got port number 80 and 22 open. Well, we don't have to do that. Why? Because you get a self-service provisioning portal. You get your own login page. You type your user ID, password, and when you log in, you enter the world of cloud computing where you can create whatever resource you want. You can create a server within like 4 to 7 minutes. You can create a load balancer in less than that time. So basically, you can create the entire infrastructure in no time, and we used to take like months and years to create that kind of an infrastructure. What are we achieving with this? We are achieving three important things. Number one, reduction of capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is the initial investment that you do when you provision infrastructure. For example, if you want to create a set of applications in your office, you procure servers, you procure Cisco switches, etc., and that needs a lot of investment. So whenever we think about initial investment, that is capital expenditure. That was number one. Second is reduction of operational expenses. Anything where we spend monthly, quarterly, or yearly expenditure in the form of licenses, heating, ventilation, air conditioning costs, electricity costs, or anything that you pay on monthly or renewal basis, that is an operational cost. So you cut down on that as well. That was the second point. Now, the third important factor is the time to market. In today's world, we are living in an era of startups. So if you are creating an application, there's somebody else in different part of the world probably creating a similar application. So whoever creates that application first and then consumers start using it, that guy is an absolute winner. So we gotta cut down the time to market our applications, and that's only possible if we stop procuring infrastructure on-premise and start going to cloud as a way to deploy our infrastructure. In the upcoming chapters, we'll learn about different cloud models, deployment models, and how cloud has evolved over a period of time.